Hiya, welcome back again everyone. If you remember last time, I was freeing off the front brakes. I got them working, so the brakes are all running great. Only thing with it, I do need new seals, but I wanted to make sure that the caliper was okay before I went and forked out the money for a set of seals. They're on the way, so while I'm waiting for them, I thought I'll try and get on with some other jobs. Now one of them is indicators. I know I don't really need them, maybe use hand signals, but I would like to put some on. So on the back it led to a problem though, where to put them, things like that. I managed to get hold of these little bullet indicators, nice little things, and they have got a, I think it's an E11 or something sticker on. Whether or not that's legit, I don't know, but they're very small. Then it's whereabouts to fit them. Now looking at the bike, I'm going to have the number plate here, so I can't really have them anywhere in front of this. And I've got to bear in mind that I've got to do the similar thing on the other side. Coming through here, I can't really put them anywhere up here because they're going to be obstructed by the backlight. And if I stuck it out here on the indicator next to the backlight, I haven't got an equivalent bracket on the other side to match it up with. So the only place I can see which will miss that is right the way under here. Now I know there might be some issues, it's a bit low off the ground. Let's see, what's that, about 250 millimeters. I think it might be a bit low, but it's the only place I can put it where I'll have a good view from the back, and I can do the same on the other side. So to fix them onto there, what I've decided to do is drill a hole in the bottom of the tube here and feed the wires along the pipe, so there's no wires shown. So the only other place I could have put them would have been up here on the mudguard, but again it would be wires. Where do I take the wires to try and conceal them? It wasn't really possible. So what I'm going to do, let's say, drill the pipe and feed them along there. Now to hold them onto the pipe, what I'm going to do is take a normal M8 nut, I'm going to turn it down and step it, and then drill a hole in here and fit it in just halfway up to the shoulder where I've stepped it, fit it in there and weld it in place, so that then the lamp I'll have to screw inside of there, and wires going along the tube. To make sure it faces backwards, I'll either have to pack this with the right depth of washers so that it does fit exact, or put a little check nut on, little half width check nut, stainless steel, so that I can position it and nip it up with a check nut. So that's the two options which I have there. So first of all, I'm going to turn this down on the lathe. Rather than the other alternative would just be to get a piece of round bar, drill it and thread it, I thought it's easier just to turn down an existing nut. So I've just got a nut and bolt, so a few nuts on there, so I can nip that into the lathe, and we've got a little bit of thread sticking out, and then I can put on the normal nut, so wind it onto there. Now we'll just turn it down. Right, so it's now no longer hexagonal, it's round, so I'll just put a little step on it now. Check the diameter. here, that'll be fine. Right, so the next step, we've got the little step nut that's going to be, it's a bit like a captive nut, going to be welded inside the frame. These are the indicators with the wires. Now the wires are going to be thread through the frame, so don't need these plugs on because I'm going to have to solder them together and maybe put some heat shrink on. So they're going to have to be joined, so we'll cut these off. Now when you cut them, stagger them so that when you do joins, you've got one joint there, and if there's ever any problem, they're never going to short between each other because they're too far apart. See now. Next thing is that where the nut goes on, just pop the nut on here. So we'll screw the nut on, nip it up. Now, to make sure I get straight, or straight near to straight, what I'm going to do is put a little mark on here, a little centre punch mark, so that when I weld it in the frame I can have that facing the rear, and then it'll be almost right. I've nipped that up with the pliers there, so it'll be almost in the right place. If it's not, I could pack it with washers to make it a little bit thicker, to turn it, maybe use the outwards that way, or like a shim or something. Or if it needs to go a little bit tight, I could always file a little bit off the nut or a little bit off the top of here just to get it the angle right. But then again, it's not going to go anywhere. I could just put thread lock in there, and then may hold it in the right place. So just put a little centre punch mark. A little blue mark on it so I can easily distinguish it. Right, now I don't need that much thread on here because the pipe, it's going to fit inside the pipe. I don't want it hitting almost the other side, so I'm going to cut this aluminium down a bit, just about enough to let us put a check nut on if I wanted to. So I'll cut it off about here, or put an extra washer in, something like that. So what I'm going to do now is saw through that, but I'm going to have to saw gently as I go around so I don't saw through the actual wires themselves. So, see, I've put those two through. I've filed down the edge of the thread there, and also tried to deburr it a little bit inside, and I've also put this little bit of sleeving on so that when it's inside the frame, as it is bent over, turning as I'm tightening it into the thread, it's not going to cut through the insulation there. So next thing, we'll get this welded into the frame. So next thing, need to drill a hole in here, so I've already marked it where I want it. So I'll just put a nice centre punch hole there, and then we'll drill it. Right, so I'm going to take the nut and put it on this long bolt so that when I'm lining it up, it's a nice long bolt. I can see easier whether or not it's level in that direction, in this direction. So just pop it in the hole there, and I've also got to line up the punch mark so it's facing exactly to the rear. Right, that looks like it. So just going to put a few spots on there so that holds it in place, and then I'll weld it up fully once I'm doing the rest of the frame. Should have it. Yeah, so that's it. So nice and straight. I'll just try the indicator in there. Right, so before I take you around, I'm going to show you the indicators now that they're both on. A couple of things I've been getting, which is going to be in the next couple of series. One of them is for the rear light. Rear light's got this glass lamp on it, and say normal filament lamp which went in there, and I quite like the look of it, so I want to keep that, but I want to put LED lights in. So I went and bought this. It was a LED rear light off eBay. It's for LEDs in there, and what I'm going to do, it fits quite nice, is put that into there inside of this, and it should fit in. I maybe just make up a little plastic mounting plate or something to fit it in, but that should fit in there quite nicely. And while I'm on the back end, I'm going to start at the back and work my way across as I'm doing the wiring harness. Got one of these off eBay, and I would have liked something more old-fashioned, but I was stuck with it. I would have liked to try and take this clock off and redesign the face, but for now I'm going to stick with this. And it's, say people might like them, people might hate them. I might try spraying the bezel around here, but it does everything on there. It's a rev counter, it does a digital speedo, it's even got a fuel tank sensor, which I don't have, indicators, high beam, low beam, neutral, and it even does the gears, so it'll go through all 6 gears. And somewhere I've got a switch, so I've got that, the gear indicator switch, so I'll be able to put that on, so the speed will be able to show what gears it's in even. The other thing for the speed, now as I said, the front end I want to keep very minimalistic, so I'm using internal cables with reverse levers, so there's no brake clutch lever. I'm going to try and do an internal throttle as well, so there's nothing coming on there. And also the switches, I've got these tiny little switches which I'm going to put inside the handlebars, so there's just a little button shown. And with this, it's got a sensor for the speedo, for the actual speed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that on the back wheel somewhere. So that's one of the things while I'm at the back end. And it's just got this little very thin, I think it's a 3-core cable, which needs to run through the frame up to the front. So they're all in upcoming episodes. The indicators, you can see on there, and the other one on the other side, just hanging down here. They are fairly bright, so they will do the job. You can see them quite easily there from the side, so it's got quite good visibility on that. So anyhow, that's just a few things that's coming up in the next couple of episodes. So I hope you've enjoyed it tonight, and stay safe everyone, and I'll see you again next time.